Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to another wonderful session of Grammar in 1 Minute live with me, Alexander. I want to believe and trust you had a great weekend, and as usual, you've put in the necessary effort to make whatever lesson that we've been enjoying here, making it into and putting it into full use. As a way of recap, we've so far been talking about prepositions, where we look at the various categories of preposition. Now, in today's series, before I proceed, as I always do, I'd like to encourage you to share the links with your friends, um, invite them, let them participate, and reap the benefits that you are reaping from these wonderful sessions. Send in your comments, your contributions, and any other general thing that you would like to know or have an idea or understanding of with regards to grammar. So I'll be waiting for you to share the links with your friends and invite them in to participate in this wonderful class. So as we are waiting for you to share the links, I would like to briefly recap all that we've done so far, where we started with prepositions and we look at the various categories of preposition. And as of last week, we looked at prepositions that we use in making connections. Prepositions that we use in making connections, where we talk of the preposition of as a preposition that we use to make connection, where we say we use the preposition of between two noun phrases to show that the first belongs to or is part of the second one. Where we want to show that the first belongs to or is part of the second one, we use the preposition of to show that connection. Again, we talked about the preposition of as to show people are related or to say how people are related. We look at some examples in this particular regard as a preposition of in terms of making connections. The next preposition that we use to make connection is the preposition with. The preposition with. We say we use the preposition with between to show the relation between two nouns when the second is a particular feature of the first one. So in relation where the second is a particular feature of the second one, we use the preposition with to make that connection. Again, we say we use the preposition with to say that people or things are together. To say that people or things are together. So anytime we want to establish that connection that of between people, or to say that people are together, we use the preposition with to establish that particular connection. And finally, under the preposition that we use to make connection, we talked about the preposition by. The preposition by. When we say the preposition by, we use it when we want to describe an action in a more general way. When we want to describe an action in a more general way, we use the preposition by. Preposition by to make a connection when an action is described in a more general way. Now, as we share the links with your friends, we invited them in. We would like to quickly go into today's series. We would like to go into today's series. And today we want to talk about prepositions in academic writing. Prepositions in academic writing. So even though there are general prepositions, there are some prepositions that we use them mostly in academic writing. We use them in academic writing. And the first one that we're going to talk about is the preposition about. So we're going to talk about the preposition about in academic writing. So if we want to talk about the preposition about, we use it to refer to topics. So preposition about in academic writing is used to refer to topics. So topics in a sense of with regards to or that are concerned with. So that is why mostly in our academic writing, we are asked to write about this, write about that, talk about this, talk about that. So we use the preposition about for topics, for topics. The preposition about, we use it for topics, for topics. So for example, she was the author of many books about the history of ancient Egypt. She was the author of many books about the history of ancient Egypt. So that is the first preposition about, where we say it is used to refer to topics in academic writing. topics in academic writing. So it could be what you write or whatever topic that you speak on, academic writing. The next preposition that we use in academic writing is the preposition for. The preposition for. Preposition for. We say we use the preposition for to give in giving a reason or with a purpose, or that is associated with an action. So we use the preposition for to give a purpose or give a reason that is associated with an action. So anytime you are having an academic writing that you have to give a reason or a purpose that is associated with an action, we use the preposition for to emphasize that particular point. For example, the concept of class is important for understanding how society works. So the concept of class is important for understanding. Why is it important? You are giving the reason why class is important. You are giving the reason why class is important. So we say the concept of class is important for understanding how society works. Now remember that when we talk about a class is a group of different people. It could be different tribes, different ethnicities coming together to live under one roof. So this concept helps us to understand the importance of society and how society works. So we use for to express a purpose or to give a reason that is associated with an action. A reason that is associated with an action. Again, we use for as a shortened form of for the purpose of. For the purpose of. So we use for to represent or to stand in for the purpose of. For the purpose of. For example, theories about strategies for linking nouns and verbs. So there are theories there are theories about strategies for linking verbs and nouns. So I'm using here for as a shortened form of for the purpose of. So that is the other use of for in the academic writing as a preposition. In academic writing as a preposition. Now the next preposition that we're talking about in academic writing is the preposition in. The preposition in. Now the preposition in simply means inclusion. The preposition in simply means inclusion, or it refers to the location or position within a time period or limit. So anytime we are using the preposition in as a preposition in academic writing, it means inclusion, location, or position within a time period or limit. That is what it stands for in academic writing. In academic writing, it stands for inclusion, it stands for location or position within a time period or a limit. For example, you can see that in this works by contemporary authors. So you can see this in works. You can see these in works by contemporary authors. So I'm looking at where the limit or the location or the position that you can see a particular thing. So in this case, I'm using the preposition in to refer to a location or a position or an inclusion. A location, a position, or an inclusion, which is within a time period or a limit. Within a time period or a limit. So that is how we use the preposition in academic writing. The next preposition that we want to talk about is the preposition of. Is the preposition of. Now, if you can bear with me, you can notice that so far we've used almost similar prepositions, but in different contexts. In different contexts. Similar preposition in different contexts. Similar prepositions in different contexts. Now, if you are talking about the preposition of in academic writing, it simply means belonging to. So the preposition of in academic writing simply means belonging to or relating to. So preposition of in academic writing simply means belonging to relating to, or connected with. It means belonging to, relating to, or connected with. Now, again, the preposition of in academic writing can also be used to describe a relation. It can again be used to describe a relation. In the same way, the preposition of again in academic writing can be used to refer to the origin, the cause, the motive, or reason of something. The preposition of can again refer to the origin, the cause, the motive, or the reason of something. The cause, motive, reason of something. All these can be described in academic writing by simply using the preposition of. Now, let's look at some examples to help us understand it better. Okay? The results of the investigations are still relevant. The results of the investigation are still relevant. Now, in this case, we are looking at the result of the investigation. Remember, belonging to or relating to. That's the preposition of. So in this concept, the result of the investigation, so result which is relating to the investigation. The result is relating to the investigation. So that's why we say the result of the investigation. So in other words, I can say the results relating to the investigation are still relevant. But because I don't want to use that lengthy sentence, I simply put it, the results of the investigation are still relevant. Let's look at another example. The root of the problem is the absence of any evidence to support the thesis. The root of the problem, the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is the absence of any evidence. The cause of the problem is the absence of any evidence. That is what I simply put, or lengthy down, I put it this way, that the root of the problem is the absence of any evidence. So I've used the preposition of here to mean cause. To mean cause. So these are some uses of the preposition, the uses of the preposition of in academic writing. In academic writing. Now, the final example that we'll talk about under the preposition of is Victor discovered that the king died of poisoning. Victor discovered that the king died of poisoning by analyzing blood samples. Victor discovered that the king died of poisoning. So, died of poisoning. What caused the death of the king? What is the reason for the king's death? What originated the king's death? It is poisoning. So we put it this way, Victor discovered that the king died of poisoning. Victor discovered that the king died of poisoning. So this is how we use the preposition of anytime we are dealing with academic writing. Anytime we are dealing with academic writing. Again, and finally, our preposition that we talk about today in regards to academic writing is the preposition by. Is the preposition by. Now, we use the preposition by to describe a direct cause or agent. Anytime there is a direct cause to something, we use the preposition by to describe that direct cause or agent of the thing. Anytime we want to describe a direct cause of something or by an agent, we use the preposition of to describe it. So according to folklore, he was killed by strangling. 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 Remember, we say by is used to describe a direct cause or an agent. So we are looking at the direct thing that is responsible for the killing. A direct thing that was responsible for their killing, and it was by strangling. On this note, we've come to the end of another wonderful session of Grammar in 1 Minute, live with me, Alexander. As I always tell you, I'd like to encourage you to practice everything that we're doing, for remember, practice makes perfect. Till then, I wish you a very fruitful week, and I'll see you in our next episode. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.